Before you call it random, study the repeat. Welcome to pattern recognition, the lesson where your spirit stops acting surprised by what already showed you the blueprint. Because some things are not confusing, they are consistent. And consistency is communication. How they move is the message. How you respond is the pattern. What keeps repeating is the lesson. Asking if you finally caught it this time. We are looking clearly so we can move forward clean. There's a difference. Pattern recognition is not obsession, it's observation. It is the moment you stop asking, why does this keep happening, and start asking, what part of this have I not learned, and how to stop participating in it. Because life will repeat the lesson until your behavior proves you understand the assignment. Language check showed you what you say. Behavior check showed you what you prove. Access control. Who gets in? Self-check showed you where you must take ownership. Energy audit showed you what it costs. Power recall brought you back to yourself. And now, pattern recognition says, study the cycle before you sign another contract. With the same spirit wearing a different face. Because the pattern may change clothes, but the energy feels familiar. Same confusion, different person. Same delay, different excuse. Same disrespect, different delivery. Same self-abandonment, different chapter. And if you don't recognize the pattern, you will keep calling it new just because it arrived in a fresh packaging. No, baby, that's not new. That's a rerun with better lightning. That's the same lesson trying to see if your discernment has grown teeth yet. So check the repeat. Check what always happens right before you lose focus. Check what always pulls you out of your rhythm and what always makes you question what you already know. Check what always shows up when you get close to your next level. Check what always convenes you to pause your own progress so you can manage somebody else's chaos. That is not coincidence. That is a pattern. And patterns are portals. They either return you to the old you or introduce you to the healed you. Depends on what you choose next. That's the savage part. Once you recognize the pattern, you can't unknow it. Once you see the cycle, you can't keep calling it love. And once you see the cost, you can't keep calling it loyalty. Once you see the trap, you can't keep calling it opportunity. Once you see the leak, you can't keep calling it normal, because awareness comes with responsibility, and responsibility is the crown. So no more saying, I don't know how I ended up here. Yes, the fuck you do. You missed the signs because the familiar felt safer. Then the unknown, you ignored the tension because your heart wanted the story to end differently. And then you gave it another chance because the old version of you thought patience meant self-sacrifice, but not anymore. Now we observe, now we pause, now we ask, have I seen this before? Have I felt this before? And have I heard this excuse before? Have I lost myself in this kind of energy before? And have I confused this kind of chaos with chemistry before? Have I called this kind of inconsistency potential before? Have I made this same decision and paid for it with my peace before? That's pattern recognition, not paranoia, wisdom. It's not bitterness, it's discernment. And it's not fear, it's memory with leadership. Because the goal is not to distrust everything. The goal is to stop betraying what your body already knows. Your body recognizes patterns before your mind admits them. Your stomach tightens, your breath shortens, your shoulders lift, your peace step back. Your creativity goes quiet. Your sleep starts speaking. Your nervous system says, we have been here before. Listen, that is not weakness. That is data. That is your spirit bringing receipts. That is your future whispering, don't pay this price again. And because we are moving forward now, we don't need to hate the pattern to outgrow it. And we don't need to curse the lesson to complete it. We don't need to drag the old story into the new room. We only need to recognize it and choose differently. That's how you break a cycle. Not by screaming at the past, by refusing to give it your next decision. You break the pattern the moment your next choice does not look like your old agreement. You break the pattern when the phone rings and your peace answers no. You break the pattern when the excuse shows up and your discipline stays seated. You break the pattern when your fear gets loud and you move anyway. You break the pattern when your loneliness knocks and you stop handing it the keys to your standards. You break the pattern when your mouth says, I choose myself, and your behavior finally backs it up, bitch. Because pattern recognition is not just seeing, it is shifting. It is not just naming the cycle, it is exiting the loop. And it is not just knowing better, it is moving better. It is not just saying, that's what always happens. It is declaring, that's where it ends. And let's tell the truth. Some patterns live in people, in places, in habits, and in your tone. Some patterns live in your timing, live in the way you abandon your routine the moment life gets emotional. Some patterns live in the way you delay your own dream. Because helping everybody else feels safer than becoming visible. Some patterns live in the way you keep preparing, but never producing. Keep planning, but never presenting. Keep learning, but never launching. Keep healing, but never living. And baby, that ends here, because forward only does not mean rushing. It means repeating the right things, a better pattern, a cleaner rhythm, a sacred routine, a body that trusts you because you stop dragging it through the same fire and calling it growth. From here forward, we build patterns that supports the person we are becoming. We create a pattern of truth, a pattern of movement, of boundaries, rest, execution, a pattern of not negotiating with what already proved it cannot come. Because your life is built by what you repeat, not what you wish, not what you post, not what you intend, it's what you repeat. Your pattern becomes your proof. Your routine becomes your receipt. Your behavior becomes your prophecy. So if the old patterns was chaos, the new pattern is clarity. If the old pattern was explaining, the new pattern is executing. If the old pattern was waiting, the new pattern is moving. If the old pattern was leaking energy, the new pattern is calling it home. If the old pattern was self-abandonment, the new pattern is self-leadership. And no, you don't need to be perfect. You need to be awake enough to catch yourself before the loop catches you. That's mastery. To pause, to breathe, to notice, to choose, to say, I know this road, and I'm not walking it again. That sentence alone can save your whole life. So welcome to pattern recognition, where the repeat gets exposed, where the cycle loses its power, where the familiar no longer fools you, where discernment becomes direction, and the loop meets the woman who finally learned how to leave without looking back. Say it with your chest. I recognize the pattern before I repeat the pain. I don't owe loyalty to cycles that keep me from becoming, and for the version of you ready to move forward. I don't repeat what reduced me. I repeat what restores me. And I'll see you over in Identity Reset. No mercy, ho. And that's simply law. Divine law. My law, bitch.